Welcome back, our freaks and geeks, to another episode of the podcast, the Square Round Table podcast, where we talk about all things nerd, pop culture, and everything in between and around that. Today, we're going to be talking about it's going to be a special episode. One that's like personal to our hearts. We grew up with this beloved series. So it just
Third,
celebrated its 30th anniversary. Been around for
30th.
30 years.
And by the way, I'm 33 and Demetrius is.
I'm about to be
Come on.
32.
We were actually around at the beginning.
At the
Yes.
beginnings of this great series.
This is the one that started this, so you can see it. We had the bed sheets and everything, and
The toys,
action
the
figures,
cereals, or whatever they had, the Burger King
coloring
stuff.
books. Man,
Mhm.
it was, bro. I didn't realize how much like merchandise it was for Mighty Morphin until I like got older and looked stuff up on like Google and YouTube. Man,
Yeah,
they market the hell out of that
they
show.
still marketing the hell out of it.
Yep, that's one of the most popular. Like when they come out with special toys, everybody goes to buy that. Like when I go in the
Yeah.
stores, anything Mighty Morphin is always gone. It's always the newer ones that's left.
Oh, I got a question I want to ask you. But I think we're talking about toys. I was gonna go on a whole different tangent, but since you brought up toys, I gotta ask this question. How do you
Yeah.
feel about them strictly marketing the Mighty Morphin and no other series when it comes to toys and stuff like that? How do you feel? Do you feel like they should market to all toys, all the Megazords and series shows, or is it just
I think over the years, as now, especially now that it's done, like officially done,
like,
I think they should market like all of the series and slowly like start bringing them out and seeing more like I know one set of Rangers you don't see too much of is like Galaxy.
oh yeah.
You don't see a lot of Turbo stuff.
I,
A lot of Ninja Storm. You
we
don't
don't
see
see a
a
lot
lot
of
of
Ninja
Ninja Storm.
Storm, but I feel like I've
Dino.
seen a lot. I feel like I've seen a lot of Turbo in comparison to like
Yeah.
others, because like they do the on IG. I follow a couple of channels who do like those toy lines and stuff like that. So I
Okay.
see like Turbo so much. I see like
Yeah.
the
But
Turbos are, but I don't see as much as Mighty Morphin or you said
yeah.
like Lost Galaxy. We got like one thing.
Hmm.
SPD. You don't see no
Man, that's
SPD.
a nut. Now that's one SPD. That's a rare one. If you find like some SPD stuff, it'll be like that one time when they just randomly put out an SPD like Ranger.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like they
you
don't be
know
showing no love to. They don't show no love to Zio, honestly. But
they don't
let's just say
like
let's just
I had got the yellow Zeo Ranger just by chance because I saw it like in Walmart and it was like on sale or something.
yeah.
Yeah, bro. But like to answer your question, I think they should. But I think the reason why they bank on Mighty Morphin because it's so popular amongst us, and they know that a lot
That
of us are
nostalgia.
grown now, and we can buy
Hmm.
whatever we want, even when we don't need to be buying it. So they know, yeah, if we put a special edition Megazord out, they're gonna spend that $100 just because they want to remember their
They want that
childhood,
little
and then
childhood.
they know like half of us gave the toys away or they broke because we played with them
Hmm.
all the time. So yeah, that I think that's the main reason why like they bank on Mighty Morphin a lot. Cause I ain't gonna lie, I got half the stuff I be getting is Mighty Morphin. Like I got like 3 Black Ranger Mighty Morphin things. So
I be
you
trying to
know,
look for not Mighty Morphin, not because I dislike Mighty Morphin or anything like that or whatever, but I like wanted like a Dino Charge like Ranger. That's why I got like Shelby from
mm,
like Dino Charge, which I didn't know that they
yeah.
even made it until I went to a GameStop and found it. But honestly, I
And it's
wish
crazy because
like
that's where you find stuff like that, like a GameStop or Walmart. It'd be like at the most random place you find it at every time.
yeah, really big. But so I'm hoping like that they do. But I think they should because they like now they're doing like with the Mighty Morphin stuff. They're doing like different colorways and stuff like that. Like the
Hmm.
black and green, that black and teal one I showed you, which was
Hmm.
cool. That was really cool. Or they're doing like they have. I think they have a. I don't know if it's a kaiju, but it's like the one with the wings that are like hella. Just they're not like
Hmm.
normal wings. They're like very like maleficent or something like that.
Hmm.
Which I like that, but they yeah definitely need to focus on some other teams. But I think
Yep.
when it comes to the phenomena that is like Power Rangers and like how it started, like with Mighty Morphin and stuff like that, I think because I did a deep dive on the history and stuff like that of just the whole entire franchise,
Yeah.
and it was just hard for them because they tried to do it. I think really earlier in the lineup of Power Rangers series, like when the Super Sentai series were out, they tried it their hand at it, and it failed just because they couldn't get studios to be cool with the childish nature of Super Sentai, which eventually became like Power Rangers. Because Super Sentai's been out since 1977.
Yeah, it's
or
been rocking since the
or
70s, man.
75. Sorry,
Yeah.
75. So it's been out for a while, and I was just like, because I did a deep dive of that too, just for this podcast, and I was just like, there's so many theories that I didn't know about, and like how we got, because like at first there was like we're so used to Power Rangers already having Megazords and power exchanges and stuff like that, but in the beginning there wasn't even a full team. Like it was like I think
Like
like
three
a group of
people.
three,
Yeah.
and
It
there
was
was no
one
Megazord.
it
Yeah,
was one I seen, like the weirdest one I saw was like they had helmets, but they had like hair coming out of it. And I was like,
yeah.
what is it? But it was like you said, it was the early 70s. That was the thing. But Japan always been big on like the transforming, morphing into the hero. Like
Because
even
that's
with their
Common
version,
Rider.
yeah, even with their
Hmm.
version of Spider Man, like he morphed
Yeah,
into Spider Man. He had a Megazord and all that. And then they had
yeah.
what was it
The
Ultraman?
Ultraman,
Ultraman. So you
Common
know
or
that,
Mask Rider, all
yeah,
that stuff. Um,
Japan has always been, I'll say, 2 steps ahead of us when it comes to things
yeah,
like that. You know,
exactly. Because
the only thing we had on them was they were inspired. Anime was inspired by American animation because a lot of them
hmm
saw that, and that's what inspired them to do anime. Because they,
and
had
inspired them
said
to
like
make their
early
own kind of
Disney.
superheroes and stuff. Because
Hmm.
like they looked at like Superman and Batman and were like, hey, we can do that.
Hmm.
And I do like Japanese like version of heroes because it's like dramatized and dramatic, and them going into their forms are just like it's like this big ass transformation.
Man, because
And yeah,
it's like when you go back and watch it. Like as a kid, you always wonder why everything was like,
yeah.
they was like imposing. Then when you go back and watch the Super Sentai version, is that was like that's like the norm and the tradition of the show. So like you
Hmm.
gotta like the way they pieced it together, and it's just crazy because when you go back and watch it now, it's oh my gosh, as an adult, this gives me a headache because you can literally
Yeah.
tell like the parts where it's like the Super Sentai footage,
Oh,
then
100%.
oh
It
man,
goes from
it's so
like sunny
noticeable.
day to like overcast, like very quickly. The
Yeah.
buildings change, and you're just like, as a kid, you're like, you don't notice it, but as an adult, you're like, that's where they got the Super Sentai footage right there, and then they like blended it back, and they didn't do a great
Hmm.
job because you can't match that kind of like camera tone because there's a different
Yeah,
way
like
of filming
it's,
it.
the shots were different. You could tell one was shot on set location and the other was shot like somewhere else. So but they did a good job of mixing it. And then it's so interesting because you learn little stuff as you get older. As Demetri said, it came from Super Sentai 30 years ago. Mighty Morphin premiered, and it became this big thing. It blew up. They got a movie, video
Hmm.
games, like toys. What happened is they took a lot of the Super Sentai footage from whatever, because like you said, it was there since the 70s. So each year they literally did a Super Sentai. So at that
Yeah.
time, when Mighty Morphin debuted, Saban, who is like the head of the 3-headed monster, when it was like, hey, let's try this and shoot it with some of our stuff and then piece it together, which was
Yep.
brilliant because he ended up having a series for 30 years, even though it switched networks and stuff. But getting
Hmm.
back to the point, so basically, it was a lot of footage like meshed together, which was for the time, it was good editing because I heard like a lot of the stuff they had to do was like it was like they was getting it out. They had to get them out,
Definitely.
crank them out. So the interesting fact is because of that, a lot of stuff was like limited. If you ever notice when you go back and watch it, the first thing is the Yellow Ranger is actually a male Ranger because the
Most
Super
of the time.
Sentai, yeah, it's a male. So when they switch it, that's why she never had a skirt on because that was a male Ranger. So the Pink Ranger
Yeah.
was the only female Ranger, but in the American version, they switched it to a female. The way they did it and it was so quick and stuff, we never picked up on that. as kids, because we're not thinking that, because automatically we see it and then we just reference it.
And
In the
here's
second, go ahead.
let me make a point to that. And here's the crazy, because I did a deep dive on that part. Like originally, the Girl Rangers didn't have skirts. They like it was series where they were Girl Rangers, but they had the normal like Yellow Ranger like full
Spandex,
on
yeah.
spandex. And then one season they just started doing that, and then it became a staple. Like early
Oh,
on,
this
they were
is a
just like,
female ranger.
yeah, they were like, yeah, you're the girl right here.
Yeah, which
But
is interesting. And
it is.
the second point I was just gonna make was when they introduced Tommy as the Sixth Ranger. At first, of course, he was an evil ranger.
Yeah.
A lot of the reason why he never really stayed like in the Green Ranger form a lot is because they didn't have a lot of footage from the
Yeah.
Sentai, Super Sentai of the Green Ranger. And you can even tell down to like the shield when it was the American, like it looked like real clothy like, and the one from the Japanese version was like real detailed. But come to find out, like
You're
you
about to
did,
say it.
I
Yeah.
deep dived into it, and they had, because they used to get
Mm-hmm.
the replicas like from Japan in the actual suits.
Yeah.
So they had the shield, and when it was being transported over to America, it actually got damaged. So they
Mm-hmm.
had to go and make their own version, which, like we just said, this was a project where they was cranking it out and production was real fast. They didn't have the time and resources to just make a exact replica. So it's just to hear these things, it was like so much behind the scenes, even like hearing the actors talk about their experiences and what they learned from the show, and even to at the point where some of them left the show because of this and that. But Mighty Morphin was like the one to kick it off, it set off the series, set the tone, and then they just kept the pattern going for 30 years, man.
Let me ask you a question.
What's
Because
up?
we know as an adult that Mighty Morphin Power Rangers combined like 3 seasons or so. They combined the regular Mighty Morphin, or what we consider Mighty Morphin, a ninja series, which they call them Alien Rangers, which is I don't like that. I wish they would have
Yeah,
just
I
called them
didn't even
ninjas.
remember that. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, and then they did
The
something where they
movie.
introduced the White Ranger, because the White
Yeah,
Ranger's from an
and then
entire different team.
they
So they
had,
combined them in
yes,
there.
he was like, that's a
Yeah.
Super Sentai team where they all look like that, got that like mask and stuff.
Yeah, I forget what the
Yeah,
series is called, but that they should. Here's my thing, and my question is: should they have just done three? I know why they didn't do this, but should they have just done like 3 separate seasons, or at the very least ended off Mighty Morphin and then and then transferred them over like they did with Zeo to like ninjas, and then like officially make them Ninja Rangers, and then take them to those paths instead of just combining 3 seasons of footage and making it work.
yeah. I think they could have, especially after with the when they did the Alien Rangers and they came back and he became the White Ranger. Then they went and did the movie
Yeah.
and came back and they was the ninjas. Then it probably would have worked, if they did it like that, because it was right after the movie. But it was like confusing, because it was like, how does the White Ranger look like this and everybody else's suits look like this? So it's, how does that work? And I used to joke and say, well, under his shield, does he have like gold instead of white in the diamonds? Because I used to think like that. The older I started getting. So, like you, to your point, should they have done that? But it worked how it worked, and they figured it out. I don't know, but
Yeah.
like you said,
Like,
it was like a weird jump to go from Mighty Morphin to Zeo.
yeah.
Like with Zeo, when it went to space, it was a transition. Like they literally at the end of the season, they had to leave and go into space, and then that's how you got Power Rangers in space. So it was like, okay, that makes sense. Like each season, it was like a transition into
Yeah, it was a
something.
passing
Yeah.
of the.
Oh
Eventually, they
no, it
passed
was
the torch.
Turbo. I keep forgetting about
Turbo.
Turbo. It was Zeo, then
Yeah.
Turbo. I always forget
Zeo
about Turbo.
Turbo,
Yeah.
Zeo Turbo
Then they went
in
into space.
space,
Yeah.
and then Lost Galaxy. But they
Yeah.
made a transitional period, like throughout these different series of switching people actors out and stuff like that, which is cool. But for to add to your point, like I know why they did what they did, because they were afraid of losing the audience who like snapped into Mighty Morphin, which from a marketing perspective, great move. But I wish we would have gotten like actual series with those like Zords and the suits that go along with them. But like the Boom Studio comic book did a good job of introducing the team
That team, yeah.
that team that was with that original White Ranger. So they made
And
their own story and stuff like that, which is cool. I think back now I'm just like I could have, because I like ninjas. I like the Ninja Rangers. So not getting not getting a ninja team early on was just like a missed opportunity, just because kids like ninjas. Like it wouldn't have been such a big
there
hop
was a
to
lot
switch
of
in it.
ninja stuff in the 90s.
Yeah, it was so right. So it would have worked, right?
We
Because
would have been okay with it.
we would have been cool, and their suits are pretty cool. Like they're
Cause
like legit ninja like suit things, you
yeah,
know.
cause I feel like the Alien Rangers was just weird.
It was
Like,
weird because
cause they made it like these aqua-like aliens, and
they had that
you
weird
know,
voice changing thing
yeah,
going
and
on.
the little head thing, and then they was like, oh, they
Yeah,
just came in temporarily. Oh, okay.
yeah, because I think they de-aged the Power Rangers or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah,
And it was like, it was weird because it's like, oh, we can't use them as the Power Rangers because like different ones was ninja colors. I think like the female ninja was like blue or something, and the white one was
I think
it was a
I think
white one.
I think the white one might have been what's. I think the blue one was a dude. I think, but the thing is, it would have been different if they would have taken a season that had alien or things that weren't specifically ninja themed. But it's weird. Oh, but that's just my gripe. Like Mighty Morphin's fine. I don't dislike it, but it just missed opportunities. A lot of missed
Yeah,
opportunities for sure.
that's what it was. The only female ranger was the white one.
I thought so because I remember seeing a clip of
Yeah,
the blue one, and I want to say it was a
yeah, the
guy. So I
blue
was
one
like,
was a guy. Yep, blue
but
one was a guy.
yeah. So one my nitpick of Mighty Morphin is I don't like the Alien Rangers, like the concept. But
Yeah.
other than that, it's fine. Like I said, I like the ninja. One of my favorite Megazords is the Shogun Megazord. Okay, I love that thing. That thing's
Mm,
amazing. I want
yes.
a a a, a, a toy of it or a figure of it, something of it in my house at some point in time because I just love the design. It's a really good design.
And those things were terrible. I'm just looking at
You're looking at
the little the
the yeah,
alien.
yeah,
That's so 90s.
yeah,
But
yeah, exactly.
yeah, I agree. I agree. I definitely agree. Yeah, that was a weird time. We'll
Yeah,
say this: because of Mighty Morphin and it did so well. I think that's why they did that first movie. And I was thinking the other day, getting ready for this podcast, I was like, the Power Rangers movie is like the first. Like I remember like seeing Mighty Morphin, but like when I was old enough, like I
yeah,
think by the time I was old enough to actually know what was going on, it was probably like going into the third season, second or third season. I can't remember. And of course, they used to run the reruns and stuff. The Mighty Morphin was like the actual like first time I like was able to go experience and watch something like Power Rangers, like with
yeah,
like the understanding of what's going on. I think I was like 5 or something. So like by then, I'm starting to figure out what I like, and I just started school, so everybody you talk to kids in school in the kindergarten, and you know what you like. So I think that
yeah.
was like the first time I really seen, but I knew the team before that, so I was confused because I didn't see all of the show before the movie, and when they showed the Black Ranger, I was like, "Oh, what happened to Zach?" I was like, "Where's Trini?
With
Where's
all,
Jason?" I was like, "Where did they go?" For the longest, I didn't know what happened to them until I was like in what middle school or something. But
yeah,
I think that was the first time like I actually was like really became like a fan because I bought some of the we had some of the toys from that. I remember the Happy Meals.
hmm.
We had the movie. We rented the movie from Blockbuster 100
I had the
times.
movie on VHS, man. I was that
Yeah,
kind of kid. I had it on
and then
VHS,
I think
man.
we bought it, and I think we played that tape so much that
Yeah.
it just ran its course. For y'all youngins out there, that's what used to happen. You couldn't just go on a streaming service and just pick what you wanted and watch it 100 times. Like you had an actual tape, and if you watched it too much, it
It
it,
was
it
done.
didn't last. Yeah, it was done. So a lot of our tapes and VHSs from back then didn't survive. But yeah, I think that was like my real first hardcore Power Ranger like moment.
Yeah. Oh, the movie was good. Like I say, looking at it as an adult, the CGI did not hold up. But when I was a kid,
at all. I was
man,
amazed.
Ivan Ooze was that guy. Okay, listen, as villains go, he was that guy. Like he was the first one. I was just like, all right, man, you are evil. Like you were
Nah,
selling a drink,
selling that stuff. Yeah, he
that
was
stuff
pushing that
to
weight, that ooze, that sticky icky.
that man
Had
was
the
going
whole had the parents, bro.
brainwash, right? To dig out his insect megazords or zords or whatever the heck they were. I don't know if they call them zords. I don't want to identify them, but that
I
movie was
do.
really good just because of the suits were. I don't know how to
The
explain it,
suits
but
look.
they were great. They just had that.
They look like a mixture of Halo and I don't know what's another movie. What's
I'm
another
trying to
game
think,
movie?
but
It's
yeah,
a
they had
mixture.
like it was armored in a way.
Freaking awesome.
It just looked like it was like they were like
Yeah,
sculpted. The thing was like,
the helmets
hmm
had different shapes to them and stuff, and they had their
exactly.
little special things with it. Then they got the ninja powers, and they was like ninjas for a minute. Like you said, we love ninjas, so I was like, hell yeah. And then
Right.
they got the Ninja Zords, and that was cool. I like the whole idea too, where it introduced like that fantasy, like mythical thing behind
Yeah,
Power
they introduced
Rangers,
like a mythos and stuff.
which kind of like opened up a world to it. As we
Hmm
saw, like later down the line, they started doing more myths and
And relics and stuff like that. They
relics and
found like
stuff.
a relic,
It started becoming like a big part of Power Rangers. It opened up the doors. Like
like
honestly,
the Lights of
you gotta
Orion was a big one. Like Lights of
you
Orion was a
gotta
big like thing. But go ahead.
you gotta really give a shout out to Boom Studios because they've given the Power Ranger series like so much weight and they've done so well. Of course, we
Yeah.
haven't read like all of it because it's so much, but just from watching video, like honestly, my favorite YouTube channel to watch is Comic Historian RIP, man.
R.I.P. Man.
That dude,
That guy was
he
on
used
it.
to. If I couldn't read a series and I knew I was gonna read it, I just watched that. And he breaks it down and does the voices so good. And I've been watching like the Power Rangers stuff and the way they fill in the gaps and give it more.
The way they filled in the gaps about them leaving for that business conference thing and them becoming
The
the Omega
Omega
Rangers.
Rangers. Yeah,
That was
man.
really cool of them just like tying that back in because we were just like, what? When as kids, you were just like, what do you mean they left for a business conference or whatever? What does
We
that
was like,
mean?
huh? A peace conference.
Peace conference, that's what it
That's what it
was.
was.
Yeah,
I just
peace
remember it
conference.
was peace conference.
And
So I
like,
was yeah. So I was like, you know, how and then like you said, when they introduced that, it just I was like, oh, that's even better with the
and
fly suits.
and how many times they've added so many different more Rangers, like what are they called? I just had it in my head. I forget what they're called, but they're like from like space, but not like the in space ones. They have those like
Mm-hmm.
black and purple and orange suits that are I
Mm-hmm.
forget what they're called. Solar Rangers. That's what they're called. The Solar Rangers are cool. The Omega Rangers. And they brought a lot of they brought the Dark. I think his name's the Dark Ranger. He's one of the ones from I know Charge. He's like a dark blue and red and has different kind of stripes. He's pretty cool. But
Yeah.
they brought him back. Yeah, Dark Ranger. They brought him back and made his story fleshed out more in there. And so it was a lot of things. And then we had the team before the Mighty Morphin team that we found out about. Because there was a team before them that
From
had
like
died.
the 60s, yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
they
they got
fought the Psycho
the
Rangers,
Green
didn't they?
Psycho Ranger. The
Yeah,
Green
they fought
Psycho
the great
Ranger was a
and
menace.
that the Red Ranger was a woman, the Pink
Yeah.
Ranger was a black man. Like
Yeah. Like they
that was
were
a nice team.
they
So
were hitting it.
like yeah, Boom Studios came after everything, but it really did a nice job. It didn't do a thing where it could have easily just banked off of nostalgia and just
Mm-hmm.
went with it. It actually
Yeah.
gave it some weight and a great story to add to it. Like even giving us, like you said, giving us the background of what Tommy actually did to become the White Ranger. You know,
Exactly. Yeah. All
where
the
that
that.
whole where Saba came from. You know how he
Mm-hmm.
had the connection with Zordon. How it was a
Yep.
whole evil version of Tommy in another universe that knocked off the Power Rangers and became Lord Draken and fused the Green and White Ranger powers together.
Yeah.
And he
Mm-hmm.
actually stayed with Rita. So it's like it gave us these good quality stories and introduced all these characters and characters we knew and like backstories for the Rangers for different teams. So it's
And it
just
was like
good to
a
have.
darker adult tone. People
Yeah,
died if you got hit with some certain
yeah,
like limitations. And I
and I
like
think
that.
that's
Like,
what.
oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, and
Uh,
I think that's what like brought us back to the whole
yeah.
series. But go ahead.
What I was gonna say is I was doing the deep dive of Super Sentai, and I didn't even know how involved Marvel was in a lot of the earlier stuff because Marvel was involved
Yeah, they
uh,
did have
with
a lot of
with some of the
Power Ranger stuff.
production and stuff like that. So I was surprised. I was like, oh wow, I didn't know Marvel reached their hand like that, but
Mm.
they did good work, and we got Power Rangers and Super Sentai and all the other series that are out here because of Marvel and DC and what they did, and even
So
Spider-Man and a Japanese Spider-Man.
that's always gonna be an interesting Spider-Man to me, bro. I
They
thought
gotta
some
make a lot. You gotta make a debut in something.
you
You gotta
do,
get them.
you do.
Yeah, because you gotta pay the respect. Okay.
I gotta ask you this though, bro.
Okay.
So, because I know people keep hearing, they're gonna hear us say Zeo, Turbo. So for you, was it a point where you had stopped watching it and then like fell off from it, and then like you might have came back, or did you just go through
Uh,
and just keep it going?
there was a point in time that I did stop, and I think it was around like high school. Not because I would fell off just out of interest. Just I was just busy doing
Yeah, and
high
then
school
have the
stuff.
time.
I didn't have the time, but I finished at that point in time. I think I finished Dino Thunder. That was the last one, and then I went back a little when I got back. I was able to have time. I went back and I watched all the way up to my least favorite series, Megaforce. I do not like Megaforce. It's a weird series, and Super Megaforce did not help
I
because
heard it was.
here's the thing: the company who made those those seasons, I got to talk about them because this is like my gripe about it.
It was Disney, right?
I think it might have been, honestly. I don't think
Yeah,
Disney was part of that. They might have been. I forget who was. I think
because
no,
it
I think it was
bounced
Nick.
around from like Nickelodeon and
I
Disney.
think it was on Nick. I think it
Yeah.
was on Nick at that point in time. And they had the Megaforce, which was okay. Like I didn't. The costumes weren't great. Like
Is
I
that the
wasn't a
one
fan
where
of it.
they almost look like pirates or something?
Super Megaforce was pirates, but they never mentioned that they were pirates. So you're sitting there looking at pirate themed things, and they don't ever mention it. So you're sitting there, like they just get these
That
new
has to be
suits,
stressful, bro.
and they have the pirate swords and the actual flint pistols and the pirate ship that becomes a Megazord and stuff like that. But they never mention it. And I love pirate themed things, so it's like one of my favorites. I guess you would say if I ever watched the Super Sentai, it'd be my favorite of the Super Sentai because I just like the suits; they're pretty cool. But you should have just made a whole nother team and made it
Yeah.
a whole nother series because why have them be pirates if you're never gonna mention it? And here's the thing about that series: it was a series where they brought back Legacy. It was I think it was the 20th anniversary, and they had like keys where they had all these keys that they could change into different Rangers based on
Yeah,
their
I
colors.
did see that. Yeah.
And there was no explanation for it. They never like really talked about why they could do that. And I think that's the last series I like watched for a while. I was like, I'm giving it a couple of years, like let it breathe for a little bit, and then I came back and I jumped back in around Dino Charges when I jumped back in like officially, and I watched that series from start to finish. Which I liked that series. It was really good. Dino theme, pretty good. When did you check it out? Because I know you might have checked it out hecka
Man,
early.
look, I would say you did better than me. If I'm gonna say as far as the last one I probably watched,
Yeah.
same like you. I think I had just started high school. So it probably what was at the SPD?
Oh, that's a hard. Oh, wasn't it Mystic? Was it
Yeah.
Mystic Force?
Okay.
Mystic Force?
So I remember Mystic Force and I saw a little bit of it, but I had stopped watching it. But like
Yeah.
the one that I like remember watching the series through was SPD. So that's why I
Mm-hmm.
stopped.
I like
Um,
SPD. SPD was cool.
but by the time I got out of high school was like what was that 2009? I think RPM was out then by
Mm-hmm.
then. So
I think so.
it's weird because I remember seeing it on Disney Channel one day, Like I was just flicking through the channels and I saw it and I was like, oh, they still doing Power, because I thought by then it was done. Like, oh, they still doing Power. I was like, oh, the Black Ranger, it's a red black guy being the Red Ranger again. I said, oh, that's cool. But like you said, I'm finna go to college, be an adult. I got other stuff on my mind.
Yeah.
So I didn't really ever come back, but you reeled me back in the world when you used to tell me like about like Dino Thunder, and then you started telling me about the comic books and stuff. So it reintroduced me to the whole thing of Power Rangers, and I started like slowly getting back into different stuff.
I used to send him clips all the time. I used to send him clips of stuff from the show all the time, like good old clips, and you'd be like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yep."
I was like, when did this happen? What team was this? And you tell me, I'm like, oh, okay. And I go on YouTube, watch the video. Because when you get older, you don't really have time to go through the whole series.
Right?
Like, you'll start it, but you'll be like, I might gotta like YouTube the rest of this shit. So
right, exactly. I gotta get all the information that way.
That was my like journey, like through it and then back. So I stopped at SPD and then I came back later on when you got back in. What was it? You said Dino Fury, right?
I got into Dino Charge, which was the one
Dino Charge. Yeah, you got that's when because you. Oh yeah, bro. Then the Pink Ranger for the first time is black. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, they finally did a black Pink Ranger. So I was like, okay, nice. Went up, looked up stuff about it. But yeah, that was like my way back in. So definitely glad I came back.
Yeah, because like I say, they've increased their like look of the suits over the last 30 years. They've gotten progressively better. There's not some season where I'm just like, no. Yeah. Listen, Operation Overdrive, I do not like those suits.
Yeah,
they are so bad.
There was some. I call every suit like that. I call a basic bitch suit because, bro.
Oh dang!
They were so basic. It looked like a. How can I say it? It looked like it was like a uniform for like a certain division of like police or. Because even though SPD was like the police force, like they didn't look like police.
They didn't.
It was like Overdrive.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't. Like, and it was so unfortunate because they brought back a black dude to be a Black Ranger, and I was like, nah, I ain't feeling them suits, bro.
Listen. The only good Ranger from that thing is the Sixth Ranger because he doesn't look like them. Like the Mercury Ranger, he has the silver, the orange. He doesn't have the color, the same like that weird slit down the middle. It's like white.
It was so ugly.
It's just like
we was just talking about it. What was it? Rescue? Was it Lightspeed Rescue?
No, Lightspeed Rescue. It wasn't bad. What's one? The one I was saying?
Yeah.
What was it? Oh yeah, Megaforce. Yeah, Megaforce.
Megaforce. Yeah, Megaforce.
Megaforce. They had like half white down here.
I will say this, bro. I was not big on what was that one like the Jungle Fury.
Yeah, Jungle. It was the one where they had like no belts. It was like a full,
and then the female Rangers had a whole like skirt, like outfit, like it was like a dress almost. I was not big on that one, bro. That one was another one that I was kind of like, man, they could have passed on those. But the Rangers were cool. It was just the suits.
The suits were pretty. They were pretty like. They weren't dramatic. They were like they were different. Like I'm just so used to seeing like a separation of pant to legs to upper body thing, like a belt or something like that, or something that like separates it, like with a color or whatever. That like the Purple Ranger in that series was good. He looks like a big, like he looks like what we know as a Ranger, but it's just because it's martial arts that they went with that kind of more like cloth looking like suit. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of Jungle Fury. Like it's not my least favorite, but they're pretty much passing. They pass the bar. They're not horrible. They're like okay. And it's just because I like a separation in some way of the suit. It just looks awkward to me. And that's just what it is. It's not horrible. It's just my tastes are a little different. So would you say okay? I'm gonna ask you your least favorite. If you have any more least favorites, I'm gonna ask. Do you have any more least favorites, or were those your only least favorites from the whole lineup?
I think it was just those.
Yeah, I can't think of. I didn't really like the newer suits, the Cosmic Fury suits. I didn't like them at all. They looked pretty.
Yeah, those were. I seen those were weird.
They They just don't do enough. They're basic. They really are basic, but not in a good way. Just okay, we have suits, this, that, the other. And I knew that it had a woman Red Ranger. I was like, that's cool. But other than that, and we got like the Zenith Ranger because he like ascended to a morphing master, so that was pretty cool. The Red Ranger ascended to being a morphing master, which was his own color morphing master, which is pretty cool. But let me ask you, what are your top 5 favorite like Ranger suits?
Ranger suits?
Yeah, we're gonna start off with Ranger suits. We're starting off least favorite to let's do our best suits.
So I'm going OG.
Okay.
Because I'm biased. I'm going Mighty Morphin first.
Oh, okay. Are you still putting that in the top 5? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Biased for sure.
Because it's my intro to it. The helmets.
Okay.
I just like the whole fact that each helmet looked like the dinosaur that they had.
Yeah,
you see it in the helmets. And like, even though it's like a simple design, it was like nice, clean. The belt had the actual morpher that they used. It was in the belt.
It was part of the belt.
They had the weapon that was like a gun / like mini little sword, and then they
it
each
looked like
had
a cowboy gun.
And then everybody's like weapon they used was cool. Like the Black Ranger had the axe that was like a gun. The gun too. The Red Ranger had the sword. Yellow had the little mini like. I guess you could call them like they were daggers, but
they're like daggers.
Yeah. So and then the Blue Ranger had that long one with the same, but it had like the same thing as Yellow Ranger. Then Kimberly, the Pink Ranger, had an arrow, so that was dope. You know, then with the Green Ranger, he had the flute to command his Mighty Morphin had, the suits and stuff. It was a simple, like how we was just talking about, like the Jungle Fury, right?
Yeah.
It was like basic, but it still needed, like, even though they were like basic, it had that nice separation, like the parts that was intricate in them, like the belt with the morpher, the helmet, so you can see the Zords and the Megazords. So like in a whole, like everything, like it all connected together and it flowed real good. That's why I had to put Mighty Morphin in there, just off of just self preference. Okay. Then I gotta go Time Force.
Ooh, okay,
and I say Time Force because they 6 Ranger
was clean.
Look
so clean.
Look, bro.
I was so mad that the Red Ranger design was not the Quantum Ranger. I was like, why didn't you give the Red Ranger that design? Why is the Quantum Ranger outdoing you?
Dude, when they introduced the Quantum Ranger, I was like, so they made the Red Ranger just look more badass. That's what put Time Force in there for me, and that was just a good series. And
it really was.
That's when around Time Force is when they started getting good with the writing and the backgrounds and the stories for the characters and like the relationships, and the villains started having more weight to them.
Mm-hmm. I would even say Galaxy started that, or even in space.
Yeah. Galaxy and space built like the foundation.
Yeah.
Like, okay, now you saw like now they in the like studio writing. It's
just
saying get the footage, put it together. It was like they writing. But by the time it got the Time Force, it was like, okay, now they know.
They got in their bag. Yeah. They got in their bag for sure on that one.
So Time Force, definitely. Then I gotta go SPD.
Okay. Is it because SWAT mode?
Come on, bro. Like, when they went into the SWAT mode, bro, I honestly think if they didn't have SWAT mode, it probably wouldn't be on the list. But at the same time, the suits did look good. Like, it had the numbers on them, and it was placed. It's another example. Like, it was a basic suit, but it worked. They threw the little lights in the helmets for they still police. And then I think what topped off, like, they suits is how each of them had, like, a special ability, and then their weapons were different. And then the way, like, they did when they would get the villains, bring out the justice thing, that was cool. But when they got the SWAT mode, and then like when the Red Ranger had like his power up, and then with the dog, and he became, you can't talk. That's like peak SWAT. The SWAT suits were dope, bro.
The SWAT suits were so cool. Compared to his thing, the evil team when they came out with the basic space suits with the whatever on top, I was like, no, step aside. You ain't the main team no more. You got kicked off at the beginning of the series, and now you're evil. So go away.
Yes. So I would say SPD.
Okay.
Dino Thunder.
That White Ranger though, man.
And then the Black Dino Thunder Ranger.
Yep.
And then what was the other? It was one more, wasn't it? Or it was just them?
So
it was white.
It was white, black, blue, red,
yellow, and red.
And yellow. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then the thing about that team is the fact that it was just 3 Rangers and they was holding their own.
They were
against people, and then like when they got like the power ups for their suits, like how the white little
Super Dino mode,
it grew.
It grew out. Yeah.
I was like, dude, like, and that was another where the helmet looked like the Megas, like you can
the actual.
Yeah, and I always joked and said like it took me back to Mighty Morphin, like a newer version of Mighty Morphin. But
they broke the fourth wall sometimes. Yeah. Why did he get why did the white one get the egg shape or the oval helmet? That's what they were.
Yeah, and then the fact that, like we said, we got to see Tommy return as like a mentor with that clean, nice Dino Black.
Yeah,
that was good. Yeah. Then my last, because like we said, we were kids that love ninjas. It's Ninja Storm.
Oh, yeah.
Because Ninja Storm, they had the sword in the back, and the whole ninja thing was like they really was heavy on it. But then they introduced the Thunder Rangers.
Yeah,
we got that Green Ranger, bro.
Oh yeah, the Green Samurai Ranger. Yeah, he came in clutch.
And then the fact, like when he took off his shield and threw it on the ground, it was actually heavy. And I was like, oh, so he basically telling us like he really finna put them hands on you now, because that was just
really
like his
that.
training. Yeah, those are my favorite suits. Like my 5, if I had to pick 5, those would be my 5.
Okay, I'm gonna do mine, but yours are great. I like all of yours. I agree with all. Like your list. Here's the thing about Power Rangers. Even though his list is not exactly like mine, I agree with every single one he mentioned because they were all good. Top 5s were hard this time when it came to the Power Rangers. So I did mine based on just like suit designs, but I will say each one of these ones I do agree with their team overall, but I just talked about like the specific ones I liked. So I got like the White Dino Thunder for number 1. Trent, like his suit was the best of the season. I do all of them from that season, don't get me wrong, but his was a standout of that season. And Tommy is second though. Like Tommy's very close to being second on that list of just standing out. But like when Trent came in and handed Tommy his ass, I just loved it. I loved it so much. Because he's on the end of the Evil Ranger thing, because he was the one that used to do that to them. So now he's getting his ass kicked, and that's what made it even better. I was like, it don't feel good being on the opposite end of that ass whooping. So that was why I chose that team, because it's just a good team. And also the villain was pretty good. I like the villain. Megazords. That's what his name. I liked him. But next, Quantum Ranger. Come on. You knew Quantum Ranger had to be number 2 if it wasn't number 1. Because he had that sick Q-Rex gun. The Q-Rex gun. And when he came in, remember the episode he came in on the stairwell and he was hitting it on the stairwell?
Bruh.
Let him know he was there.
I'm that you know what.
Right. Yeah. Yes, exactly. And then it's just a good series. I like the Time Force suits in general, just because they had their morpher into their arm. Overall, it was just a good suit, and it was a very great season. And then I would say Dino Charge is number 3, because I just like it's between that and Dino Theory when it comes to Dino themes for me, because you got Dino Charge, which is a really updated version of the Dino theme. But also they have the Dark Ranger, and I just like the blue to the red and all that kind of, like, he had a more darker, eviler look on him, even though he was like cool. He wasn't a bad guy. And also they had 10 Rangers in that theory, and that franchise.
Yeah, I remember them saying that. They had a whole squad.
A real squad, and they were deep, and every single color I liked. So it was really hard choosing one from there, but I did like that one just a little bit more. And then, like I said, for Dino Fury was so close, it's because I like dinosaurs and I like knights. So when you combine them together, you got me. You got me hooked. So I was like, that's gonna come back later when I ask you a later on question. But and then number 5 was Ninja Storm. Even though I do like Ninja still, but Ninja Storm just because the Thunder Rangers when they showed up, they were the coldest in the season for me. Like they came in, handed them their ass multiple times, and the only reason they stopped doing that is because they were like, "Oh, we were lied to. Okay, we're on your team now." I'm like,
"Yep."
If it wasn't for that, they would still be handing them their ass. So those are my top 5.
So it's a great segue because as we were talking about those suits, a lot of those suits were Rangers who started out as evil Rangers.
True.
So segueing into that, I gotta know what's your 5 best evil Rangers, man. Because that was a great way to go into it because it goes hand in hand because a lot of those suits you mentioned came from like the evil Rangers. So
the evil Rangers that turned good. So you know my number 1. You already know this. The best evil Rangers of them all. The Psycho Rangers.
It's my number 1. It's my number 1. So we gonna go ahead and get that out the way. When y'all hear mine, it's gonna be 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's it. Because both of ours are evil. We already knew it was gonna be Psycho. We had said that when we came up with this.
Oh yeah, I was like, it's just hard. It's just hard for an evil Ranger to beat the Psycho Rangers. The Psycho Rangers literally were a team that hunted them down. They only were safe on the spaceship. If they ever touched the Earth, the Psycho Rangers were on. It was so bad that they were having panic attacks.
They was telling them, "We're better than you. We're smarter than you. We're faster than you. We're stronger than you."
We're just evil.
We just here to have a good time.
Right? We're just here to, and I like that TJ, like I said, he's my favorite, one of my favorite Rangers. But I love that TJ found a way to beat him because put respect on my man. Okay, yeah, he was a leader.
I will say this: TJ name gonna come up a couple of times. Just so people know.
Just so people are warned. That's just how it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then number 2, and I did these not only by these 2 through 4 or 2 through 5. Sorry, these are done by not only design but also just like how I felt about them. And some of them might just be just by the design, but most of them are just by how evil they were, how they handled the team, the Rangers that they were associated with. The White Dino Thunder is definitely number 2 because he just like whenever he had presence, he handed whole ass. He even stole their Megazords or their Zords from him. He said, "Add it to my collection." He said, "Oh, nice addition to my collection," and just snatched 2 Zords from him. I was like, "You can't beat that. You can't beat a person." Tommy went in there and knocked them out of their Megazord, but this guy said, "I'm gonna steal your Zords."
He sure did. He knocked it. Oh man.
And for number 3, this one's just on for number 3, this is just design alone. Because I haven't actually seen the series that it's a part of. But remember I sent you the picture of the evil blue Dino Fury Ranger? That design is fire. That design is so good that I was just like, who gave you the blueprint for this Power Ranger? Because it didn't come from you guys. I don't know. I don't think you had a hand in that one. Because that thing was bad.
When you sent me that, bro, I was like, oh.
That was just chef's kiss, man. And then number 4, you know who it is, Green Ranger. Just because nostalgia. Green Ranger. When they played his theme, you knew he was about to be about business. You knew it.
Wow.
Like I said, knocking out that board.
And then he was like karate chopping them like, wow.
No, the worst part about it is when Jason tried to step on him and he bopped him still. He was like, no, get out of here. Yeah, so
he took on 5 people by himself.
And was not sweating. Handled them.
And laughed while he was doing it.
Man, there's not been a Ranger that's a menace besides the Psycho Ranger. He comes pretty close to being a menace to the Rangers for sure. And then lastly with Thunder Ranger, just because when they were introduced in Ninja Storm, I actually was like, we don't need you guys anymore. Like, design-wise, you're not Thunder Rangers. Thunder Rangers had a better design. Them shoulders to the gray tone, to the offset of the blue and the red, like, bug theme too. I was like, okay, you got
Was it a beetle and a
Beetle. What was the other
what
one?
was the blue one? I can't remember, but I
There
remember
were,
the red
yeah, I
was
want
a
to.
beetle.
Maybe they both were Beatles, or maybe they both
They
were
might
like
have
kids.
been.
They might have been because they were from the same dojo, so maybe. But their Megazord was even better than the original one. That thing was
Mm-hmm.
so cool. But yeah, those are my top five. And I'm sure you got different ones in there, but
No,
you got
it's
some.
crazy because we literally have the same list except for one.
Oh,
So
okay. Where's the
my
difference?
number two was Tommy Green Ranger only because
Okay.
that was like the
Yeah.
first Evil Ranger I remember. So he was up a little higher. But for my three, it was that SPD A Squad. Because
Oh
the
yeah.
fact that they played on, they were like missing for the whole time, but then when you finally found them, they end up turning and being evil, and you got to see the new squad like go in SWAT mode and like basically tell them like, nah, we the
It's
new shit.
ours.
Yeah, we the new shit. Y'all the old one. So that was literally my only difference between yours because I had Trent on there as well as the
Mm.
White Dino Ranger, and then I had the Thunder Ranger. So literally, I don't have to explain anything because you already said it about them. That's why they're on there because they were
Yeah,
badass.
they handled business. Like I said, the Psycho Rangers were, and to this day, I don't think there will be any evil team that they can put in the comics or anything like that's going to make me
Mm-mm.
go, or evil Rangers that can make me go, yes. Because man, it's hard to top the Green Ranger, and they did it. So I have another. We're gonna jump from heroes to the villains. Top five villains of Power Rangers.
So we gonna keep the evil train going. Evil
Yeah,
Rangers now
we got
villains.
all villains. Just keep it going.
So for my top five villains, because like I said, I stopped at SPD, so it's not a lot for me.
Mm,
It's gonna be a lot of the older ones. For number one is Lord Zed.
yeah,
And I think
yeah.
what put him at number one even more is when I went on YouTube and watched his story from the comics and how he became like how he like looked like that because he didn't look like that at first. And then
Yeah.
he was but like he was homeboys with Zordon. So given his whole backstory, I was like, dude, that makes him even better as a villain. Then the fact that he came in and was like, yeah, Rita, sit your ass down. Cause that little monster growing shit and all this, you ain't doing nothing. Like it's this my then he came back later on and whooped ass again. So it's
He came back. He come back a couple of times.
that's what I'm
He
saying.
shows up. He shows up every so often.
And he be still owning people. So I'm like, Lord Zed, because after all the years he still can be a threat. And then he was that dude. Mesagog was a great villain
He
because
was.
he was a I was just watching on YouTube. He was like that Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Like he was a
Mm-hmm.
human and he was experimenting, took part, and then he got stuck in that form. And then when he like totally disregarded his human side, like how the Hulk became Bruce Banner and all that, but his was the flip. Like he was like, nah, I'm fully going into this like Jurassic side of me. He was a great villain because he
Yeah.
wasn't with the shit. He even took out one of the other main villains. To
Oh
I was like, this
yeah.
dude is sinister. Definitely him because I love, like I said, I love that series in the whole. I don't think it was good.
Yeah.
Then number three, we talked about him earlier, Ivan Ooze,
Okay.
because it's like the movie. That was the first time we actually seen them have a real high threat of a villain. Like
Yeah.
he took away their powers. Like we had never seen it really done in that magnitude. When Tom was like literally on his deathbed. So he's up there because of that risk factor, that high risk factor that we always talk about with heroes and stuff. Definitely put him up there.
Of course.
Then four, another OG one. Like even though Lord Zed came in, Rita was a problem too because she gave us
Yeah.
the Green Ranger. So you can't just scooch her to the side because she gave us one of the like best Rangers and one of the best like villains they fought against. And then even going into like her backstory, like who her mother was and how she possessed the power coin. Like I think the fact that they gave Zed and Rita backstories in the comics is why they are on my list.
Yeah.
So if it would have just stayed like what it was in the shows, they probably wouldn't have made the list. But they backstories getting more in depth to it, definitely put them on my list. And then last but not least, there's a character from the comics we talked about, Lord Draken, because it's like he ass. Like to
Yeah,
the
I
fact that
agree.
he got a whole army of Rangers from different universes, even with the Pink Ranger becoming the Ranger Slayer?
Ranger Slayer. Yeah, the Ranger
Man,
Slayer.
what? What? Come on, man. Like that dude was like the Darth Vader, Emperor Palpatine of the Power Rangers universe. So
He
yeah,
was. Yeah. That's
that's my list.
great list. I definitely say we have we have a couple same, but they're different on my list because I've
Mm,
watched more of the series and stuff like that. So I have a little more, I have a little bit more villains that I can pull from. But
yeah.
your list is great. Like for every reason you listed, I agree because Zed and Rita and Ivan were all threats. Draken was a big threat. Like they were all
Yeah.
heavy hitters. But my list is gonna be because I have some compelling guys here.
Yeah.
You know, my number one's gonna be Rancic from Time Force.
Of course.
You
And
know it's gotta be
I almost put Rancic on here. I
because my
almost
boy
put Rancic on
Rancic
here.
was a tragic story. But he like when he was in his bag, you could not
Mm-hmm.
mess with him. He was handling them by himself at some point in time. He took things down. He actually at one point in time, air quotes here, he killed the Red Ranger in the beginning of the series at one point in time. I say air
Mm-hmm.
quotes because he came back, but they lost the Red Ranger because he took care of them.
Took him out.
And they had to go back to
Dang,
the
I love it.
past.
Yeah, I literally had him like in my official, like the first notes. It was him and I forgot the other one, but I literally had him on my list, bro. And I changed it at the
Yeah.
last minute.
Because man, Time Force is top five for sure. Top five.
Oh yeah.
Second, for the same reason as you, Lord Zed. Okay, he had to be at least if he's not number one, he has to be number two. Okay, because my boy, design wise, menacing. So menacing that they had to tone him down in the show because he was scaring people. Yeah, they had to tone him down because he was just
And
too
I loved it.
evil.
As a kid, I loved it. I was one of them weird kids that was fascinated by villains.
No, villains are fascinating for sure. So he definitely impacted for sure, especially because he comes back. He comes back and jumps around and stuff like that. And whenever he comes back, he takes up where he left off.
Mm-hmm.
It's no time has passed for him. He's like, oh, okay, back to rule and shit. Then Master Orc from Time Force from Wild Force, because that guy literally killed the Red Ranger's parents.
He
He
did.
killed, and here's the thing: he looked him in his face and told him he did not
And
care
told
that he
him.
did it. He felt no remorse for it. He did not care.
He, that was like
He,
the first time a villain was like, I did that shit and I'm standing on business.
yeah,
He see
exactly.
now I gotta go back and watch, bro, because he did,
He
bro.
did that, right?
He did.
And didn't
Okay,
care. No way.
now you got me excited for this last.
And then here, number four, Venjix. That's the one from RPM, the one who literally took over the world, and they had to fight him to
Isn't
get the
that
world back.
wasn't that the? It was like a playoff of 2001 Space Odyssey,
I think so. I don't
and it
know. I'm
was
not
like
too sure.
the little red that like behind the camera. It's like a red. I know all I know is I
Oh,
just remember
it was
seeing.
like yeah, it was. So what happened in the series? And I'm going to spoil a little bit for you.
It's
Be all
okay,
right.
bro. I've
I
seen
was
most of
I
YouTube.
said
Yeah.
be all right. But like the thing that made this series really cool for me is not only the fact that it was a post-apocalyptic, but also the person who created the Power Rangers created the villain. She created the villain because she wasn't able to. She wanted to get out of this so they had her in this thing they call it AB Soup, Alphabet Soup or something like that. It was an organization, and she wanted to go outside of the world to see the world and what it was, but they wouldn't let her out. So she created a virus that would mess with their stuff so she could escape. And they found out that she had made this thing, and before she was able to put safeguards in to keep it from escaping, they took her out of the room. So she created the villain, and that's the whole entire series of her feeling that remorse, but also making a team to stop it.
Mm.
So, and also, here's the thing: this guy actually came back in Beast Morphers as the main villain for that series. He came back and he escaped his universe and came to their universe and was running shit over there. So he was 2 villains technically.
Nice.
He's that big of a threat. He's like Ultron for their universe, where you think you get rid of him and he just shows up somewhere else, downloads himself into another body and keeps it going. Like they found out, they were like, "Oh, we're fighting this guy." No, you're fighting me. And he was like, he gave the whole backstory to wrap it around in that season. I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's top tier, definitely top 5 list for sure." Because if you're an Ultron for the universe, you are a major threat. You are a major threat. If for people who don't know about Ultron, you never get rid of him. He's always there. He's just waiting for his opportunity.
Especially in newer incarnations, because he's just basically surfing the web.
Exactly. So Vengeance is for sure one of my favorites, and that's one of my favorite seasons. RP is one of my favorite seasons just because of how campy but dark it is at the same time. It does a good balance.
It's Mad Max meets the Power Rangers.
Exactly.
That's literally what it is.
Literally what it is. And my number 5 is Ivan Ooze, because he had to make the list. He had to make the list. Even if there's other villains that are compelling, he has to make that list. Like just because he creeps me out, man. Like even just
he was so disgusting. Like when he spit and it like birthed those things. I was like, dude, you just nasty. You just nasty.
But yeah, so I feel like you agree with my list. There's nothing in there that you got a disagreement with.
No, man. That's see, the thing about it is what makes this so awesome is we literally come from the same era of Power Rangers. Even with you still watching more than I did, our lists are literally lining up. Like it's similarities because we went through that same experience. And that's just what makes it so good in the whole. And you know, just as much as we love our villains, we love our heroes because those are the ones. Because people, so we just go. I'm gonna say it like this: Power Rangers are superheroes. Like, people always they don't really associate it. Like when they talk about like what's the best superhero? This superhero show. What's my top superheroes? Like even when I see those things where it's name 5 black superheroes that don't have lightning powers. You never see them say like any black Power Rangers.
No.
Like, it's literally in their name, Power Rangers. Like they have superpowers.
They are superpowers. They have superpowers and stuff like that.
So it's so interesting because like when I really went back to think about it, and I'm like, what was the first like black superhero I remember? And it was the Black Ranger from Power Rangers. So they're just as much as superheroes as anybody else. They wear spandex. They have a secret identity. They live another life. So I think they should start being put in the conversation a little bit more. So whenever y'all see them videos for people out there, if y'all ever get asked, for any of our viewers watching, if they ask you the black heroes with lightning powers who don't have lightning powers, y'all go ahead and start sliding Power Rangers in there because you can have 3 people. You can knock out 3 people on that list.
Honestly, you might even do a whole full 5. You might even be able to do a full 5. Honestly, it's been 5. I think.
So you just ran yourself into the next question. Look at you. He set himself up. But nah.
All right.
So with you saying that, what would be your 5? I would even say this. What would be your 5 Black Rangers, like African American Rangers? And if you wanted to put a 6 like special, there's only 1 6 special ranger we both gonna have because that was the only one we could find. Was from you told me was from Dynafig.
His name is blanking on me right now, but when I say it's gonna be, it's like
Ion.
Yeah. I was thinking it was Ion. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so
I got it. But
what's
I didn't do mine as like. I didn't do mine like a team like you, but I did like my top 5.
It's fine. Yeah,
so I'll do top 6. I'll do top 6 because we're doing Special Ranger too. Number 1, TJ, of course, had to be there. He actually Zach walked, but you get what I'm saying. But he became the first Red Black Red Ranger.
First leader,
of course.
The first leader of a team. Yeah.
And then we had Ethan from No Thunder, because he was a black nerd, so I had to put him in there.
Ethan was my dude, man.
He was the guy, man.
Had the little pro.
Yeah, Afro was gamer. I was like, man, look at me. There I am on the screen. Let's go.
No, for real. We could relate to Ethan because we couldn't relate to Billy. We couldn't relate.
No, but it's okay. It's all right, Billy. All right. And 3 is Shelby from Dino Charge, because she was a scientist and she was holding her weight in that series, because like she had to prove herself, and when she did, like I was like, you fucking tell them, let them know you know that you know this shit backwards and forwards. Then 4, Tanya. Yeah, but I put Tanya.
No, it's funny because our list is literally like.
I think my fifth will be different from you. I didn't go with Zach only because like I wanted to differentiate out of that like obvious one. So I chose Scott from RPM as my 5th one. Because like I said, RPM needs that love, and Scott was holding it down. Even so much that he like crossed over to another series and held that shit over. Like he crossed over into a special. And that was the only reason why I watched that series, because I was like, oh, he popped
because you wanted to see where he came from. Yeah. I think honestly, if I would have watched RPM, he would have made it onto my list. So that's the only thing that kept him off, was that I didn't watch RPM.
Yeah. And then lastly was Ion from Dino Theory. Because like I said, he was a Mesiosaurus, and I thought that was just cool. I might be mispronouncing that, so don't.
I saw that suit too. That suit was fire.
Clean. He was the thing that ate the Indominus Rex in Jurassic World. So
that's what.
Yeah,
he got the points right there. He got the points right there.
That's my 6th. But I know you probably have Zach on your list, and that's fine. I think Zach deserves a spot, but I just wanted to throw in one that wasn't like an obvious. Okay, of course.
That was a great team, D. That was a great team, because like I said, our list is literally the same. Because the way I did it, I showed you. I did it by like Ranger color.
Yeah.
Whoever was that way, so I limited myself to it to pick, but at the same time I didn't. So of course, red TJ, red Turbo Ranger.
Yes.
Then blue Ethan, like you.
Mm-hmm.
Black was Zach. Only because, like I said before, I segued into this question. That was like my first black superhero. So he was gonna be on the list regardless. Because I could have went another route. The pink Shelby.
Oh yes.
Yellow was like the thing people don't understand about Tanya, bro. That's why when you said it, I was like, bro, it's crazy how much we think of. Tanya is also the first, like her character is the first African-born Power Ranger, like who was from Africa.
Yeah.
And she was the longest, like standing, like Power Yellow Ranger. Like she was the Turbo Ranger. No, not her. She was the Zeo.
Zeo and then Zeo and Turbo. Yeah, you just had it flipped.
Zeo and Turbo. She was Zeo, then Turbo. So like that tell you something right there. That tell you something, because everybody, as much as I love Kieran Ashley, like everybody always say, "Oh, what about Aisha?" Aisha wasn't like as powerful and like as strong as her. Even my girl from Time Force, Katie, like she was badass as a Yellow Ranger. So Aisha is like down here, because she got to follow up behind them, because they was like holding their own.
They were holding it down. Okay.
Yeah, so that was my yellow, and of course my special ranger too is Ion from Dino Fury Gold, because like when I asked you, I was like, that's probably the only one, which it is. Which Power Rangers, out of 30 years, y'all know y'all wrong for that, but we ain't gonna hold y'all to that. But y'all know y'all wrong for that.
Technically it's 2, because the Red Ranger from Dino Fury became his own color. He came in the Zenith color. So technically there's 2, and then he became a morphing master.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what. Yeah, that was in Cosmic Theory.
Okay.
So that all happened. So like we ascended. All right, we morphin masters. Okay, you know what's coming.
Nah, because look, we didn't talk about some great lists. Evil Rangers. villains, our top 5 African American Rangers. Because here at the Square Round Table, we are nerds and we are of Afro American descent. So we have to talk about that representation of seeing us on that screen, because that was one of the first shows that kind of was like diverse.
Yeah, it was.
So that was a cool thing. And by the way, the Yellow Ranger was originally, I think, like Afro Latina.
I think so.
Yeah, the actress that played her.
Yeah,
in the pilot. So
yeah.
that's another interesting fact. We talked a lot about like different teams, different Rangers. We talked about which Rangers we love, which iteration of Rangers. So if you was on right now, and you have to go pick from all the Rangers, a Ranger team. Right? Yeah, so and then when I say this, like you gotta pick a red, blue, black, pink, yellow, and your 6 Rangers.
Let me think. Did I do that? Red, blue, green, pink, black, and gold. That's what I did for mine. That worked, Zordon? Did that work?
It does. Hey, you the one who picking the team.
So the dream team. The dream team. Okay, I got it.
Yeah. So who is your Ranger team?
All right. So for my top favorite Afro Rangers, TJ makes the cut for Red Ranger. Like obviously.
I told y'all TJ name was gonna pop up a lot on this podcast.
This is how it is. So how it's gotta be. Ethan is blue. So I'm going keeping it. I'm switching. We switching universes here or timelines or whatever. However you decide the history of it. I don't know. I haven't done that deep dive of how they flow together. But and then green, I had to do the samurai. Green samurai ranger from Ninja Steel. I had to have Cam on the team. We have to have 3 good, heavy hitting, smart characters on the team. Everybody got to have their brain about them. And then Shelby from I Know Charges Pink, because I have to have. She has to be on the list. It's a mandatory thing here. Magna Defender, because I just need to see that Magna Defender
that's
too.
That's your special ranger.
That's not my special ranger. That's just my black ranger.
That's your black. Hey,
he is black. He is. Yeah, and like I say, he had a cape before capes were cool, because we had Mystic for the.
Yeah, Mystic Rangers had the cape.
Mystic Force had the cape, but this is before that. In the 90s, he had the blaster with it became the Megazord. Became his own Megazord, grew up big. Come on now. And then Ion, because I just love the gold Dino Theory. What's the name? Do I have any honorable mentions? I will say honorable mention will be Quantum Ranger for 6, but they're hanging in there for sure. Because, no, technically I can still do that. Quantum Ranger for 6. Because that is a special Ranger. The 6th one is special. I can do that.
Yeah.
So my Ranger team is Red Turbo, Blue Dino Thunder, Green Samurai, Pink Dino Charge, Magna Defender, because come on now, and then Gold Dino Fury, and then Quantum Ranger.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a tough team. It's tough.
That is.
Let me see your team. I already know like at least 3 off the list already.
So for my red, only because I had mentioned TJ before.
Oh, you were trying to change it up?
I just wanted to switch it up a little bit.
Okay.
Because I had to put him in his song because he was my dude.
I think I know.
I chose Jack from SPD.
Oh, yeah, let's go. Jack is good. Jack is great.
And because Jack learned how to actually be a good leader. Like he was a shitty leader at first, then he actually learned how to be a leader. So that's why I picked him like as a leader, because his character, like he developed later on.
Respectable.
Blue, at first, I was gonna say Tori from Ninja Rangers, but Ethan, I need my smart guy, man. I need Ethan. So Ethan Reigns is the Blue Ranger. So Ethan is definitely on there like you. Of course, my black is Zach.
Of course.
And to give Zach his credit, he had a lot of battles he fought on his own where he held his own. He actually took over the power of the Green Ranger one time.
Yeah, he did.
So he had his moments. So it ain't like he
He
was like
did.
just the dude that did hip hop, keto, all that. He was
Which is
actually
that was so funny. They go looking back
oh
about it, hip
man,
hop keto. But no, Zach definitely, like I say, if you're gonna switch out a black for if you're gonna have a Black Ranger, he's definitely in the
yeah,
running. I just
yeah.
wanted to
So
switch it up just like you. I wanted to switch it up and give a different
yeah, yeah.
thing.
So Pink, I went differently with Pink. Just like with Rita and Lord Zed,
Yeah,
Kimberly got more depth in the comics.
fair.
Like,
Yeah.
and the fact that it was a universe where she was a Ranger Slayer too, I think that kind of helped. Like she could
Oh,
actually become like
so,
evil.
you choose the Ranger Slayer, Pink Ranger?
No, it's regular Mighty Morphin.
Oh, okay. I was about
But
to say, I was like, that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
I'm just
But it's
clarifying.
only because technically she's like one of the strongest out of all the Power Rangers. Like she was like one of the strongest Pink Rangers. Like she was the first. So I was like, if I'm gonna pick a Pink Ranger, it was close between her and my girl from Time Force. I
You
always
talking about
forget her
Jess?
name. Yeah.
Jess?
It
Yeah.
was close between those two, and I was like, I gotta go Kimberly. I gotta show Kim some
Oh
love.
yeah, Kimberly is good. Jess, those are both good Pink Rangers. I can't even really think of. I would
And then
say
old girl
even
from Lost Galaxy.
I was about Corone
Yeah,
or the
yeah.
original. Okay, Corone. Yeah.
The first one was Sacrifice, and then of course
Corone
they got
came
the one who
in.
was. Mm-hmm. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that was cool.
though I was back and forth between those three. So definitely, but Kimberly she made the cut. Then Yellow, but I did get a Time Force in there because Katie from Time Force was a Time Force Yellow Ranger.
Yes.
Because she could hold her own too with the big dog.
She could literally throw things at people. She was a strong
Yeah,
one in the whole
yeah.
group. So she was like throwing. She was super strong, which is so cool.
Mm-hmm. So, and then
Man, hey,
I used to love how like they could be running and then they would like morph. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So definitely her for my Sixth Ranger. I technically got two Black Rangers on my team because I chose Jason as the Zeo Gold Ranger.
Ooh, okay. You do got a two black technically.
Yeah, but he is the sixth Ranger.
He is a sixth ranger.
So Jason as a Zeo, and what makes it so cool is he was a former Red Ranger, so he got that leader factor. But he came
Mm-hmm.
back, and now he's stronger as that. So that was a important part. I had to choose him as.
Also, he had the best out of Zeo, to be honest. Like he had the
Mm-hmm.
best like suit display. Like when they designed the Super Sentai designed him, they knew what they were doing because it's perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
that's
different list, but same energy. I agree with all your
energy.
choices.
So basically, we telling y'all if our teams fought, in a battle against evil, we'd be straight. Just us out there, we
I wouldn't
good.
even be worried. I wouldn't be worried. By the way, I realized I did my notes. I wrote 5 twice, so I can't do Quantum Ranger because I wrote 5 twice. So there's already 6.
I got you.
But
We'll still keep them in there.
here's the thing. My Ranger team's 7, okay? Because there's a Ranger squad out there with 10
I
Rangers.
was saying it got 10 Rangers. We ain't got to limit it to 5.
Let's let it go. Let's let it.
Yeah, we
He's on
keep it
there too.
because I want them out there with my teams.
Okay, I got a question for you. This might be a hard one. Top 5 Megazords, design wise. Not power, design wise.
Design wise. I'm going Mighty Morphin.
So the Dinozord or like Thunder? So they have
The Dino.
Okay, the original OG.
Original OG. I'm going SPD. SPD was badass.
SPD SWAT or SPD regular?
No, the regular Megazord.
Okay.
That's another one that I like. Oh, Dino Thunder.
So
not Dino Thunder. Not Dino Thunder.
Okay.
Ninja Storm.
Ooh.
Because it was more agile.
The 60-second form?
No, not Ninja Storm. Ninja Storm. Yeah, Ninja Storm.
Yeah, the one that had like that 60-second lightweight form.
And then I like the fact that with SPD they had the same thing. Like
they had the actual big
Let's see what else. What's another one? That's 3, right?
Yeah, you need 2 more.
Need 2 more.
I made it hard.
You did, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna get through it. You know what?
Yeah.
Even though it probably wasn't the best, I like the idea
Okay.
behind space that the ship was a Megazord.
Oh, 100%. Loved it. Loved it. Loved that. So you like the OG Space Sword thing? Or Space
Yeah,
Megazord? The Astro Megazord, that's what it's called.
yeah, I love that was like an actual Megazord. Let's see, what would be my last one?
Gotta go to the drawing board for that one.
Got me thinking. That's why.
Hey man, I asked these hard hitting questions. 30 years worth of Megazords, 5 at least 5 a piece, or at least 3 to 4 a piece from each season, man. You got
I probably would just have to go with Time Force.
Time Force red or blue, because it's 2 different main forms from the beginning, because they had a separation.
I think it's the red one. I always forget which one it is, but
It's like the regular one with the sword and stuff.
yeah, with the
Oh,
yep,
yeah, that's the red one.
yep.
Oh,
So yeah, Time
I
Force
came
red.
prepared.
Yeah,
Time Force
so
red.
Time Force red, and only because Time Force was like we said, that's top 5.
Top 5 for sure. I got my top 5. Number 1, you already know, Shogun Megazord. That thing is heat. The fact that
Mm-hmm.
they're all 5 different Zords and then they come together to be like one
Mm-hmm.
Mega, that's so heat. That was before the Rescue Megazord was even a thing, because that was the same thing with the Rescue Megazord. They came into 5, became 1.
Yeah,
But
yep.
that was probably peak design of that series. Or the
Mm-hmm.
season series. And then number 2, I chose Space. I chose Astro Delta Megazord. When they combined the one with the turbine like
They
miniguns on it,
did.
when they
They
combined them
did.
together,
I remember that.
as a kid, I remember getting that because I got it from the store. I had the actual like full on like the
Mm-hmm.
both the separate ones, and then like I combined them together, and I lost it. I'm sad about it, but so that was my favorite. It still is. But that's so clean. Like it was so like that was just a really clean design. It fits so well. Because some Megazords just look like too much going on. But this one was just so
Like that Zeos, or the
yeah,
one where they was
the
like
shake one.
trains, or
Oh,
the one where they was like trains.
I like the Super Train Megazord. Okay, I just like it because it
Yeah.
was towering over everything. I like that was my third one, Super Train Megazord, just because it like skated on the tracks.
Oh no, that is the one that was cool. I'm thinking about something else. Yeah,
Yeah, the one
that
that
one
was
was
like
cool.
that one that was like
That was the one that
big old.
skated. That shit was nice.
Yeah, because they used to carry all the Megazords before the original Lightspeed Rescue Megazords, and then it became its own like Megazord. That thing was so clean. Like to this day, I'm just like, I want a figure of that somewhere. Yeah. Number 4, Predazord from Wild Force. Predazord
Mm,
with the
that was.
the alligator crocodile thing going in the front. That's so clean. Like that design was just so good. And then when it became like good, it still had it just changed the palette. Great design. And then my last one, but I have some honorable mentions. The last one was the Rescue Megazord from Turbo, because I just like that design. Because I remember when I was a kid, I watched that episode where they were all separate, and then like they came together, and I was just like, as a kid, I was just like, I was in awe about it.
Like how they were all like different vehicles.
Yeah, different vehicles that did
it,
different rescue things.
and then they have like a pistol.
Was it a pistol? No, they had an
There's a
ulterior thing
sword.
where they had like cannons on the top of it.
Yeah.
Where they had like this ulterior thing, they had like cannons and stuff on that one. I didn't like the rescue turbo form when they combined them because it just looked too bulky at the bottom. But the rescue Megazord was great. Honorable mentions: Strato Force Megazord from Time Force, the blue one that they got later on, the 2 auto ones. The Shadow Force Megazord from Time Force when they got that one that came from like inside of the moon or something like that.
Yeah.
Like landing on top. Yeah. That thing was so cool. Whenever it came in, I was glued to the screen. As a kid, I was like, oh yeah, we got to see some cool shit.
I remember that.
Yeah. and that was hard for me to. That's why I had honorable mentions, because it was hard for me to narrow them down. Because I even wanted to put Dino Thunder. I wanted to put
There's
some
so
other
many good ones. Yeah, you
series
saw
in
how I was
there.
struggling because I want to put Dino. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but yes. So do you have any like from my list that you like would like that you out of my list that you would want to add to your list, or are you like good with yours? Because I know you had to
I
do yours
think
like off the fly.
I think I'm gonna stick with mine because
You
that
It's a good
I
list.
don't know why I love the Mighty Morphin one so much.
Yeah,
Like you said, it goes back to it was simple, but it was like so dope.
it's a clean
Like
design.
even the way like they came together and like how it started out like rolling and then like it lifts up and then
It like
the
lift
head
up.
comes the T Rex head goes down and it brings
Yeah, that was clean. Like
yeah and then the sword and then the way like they just yeah and then
yeah.
when the Dragonzord came and that would combine with them so yeah.
No. Mighty Morphin Power Ranger had a lot of good Megazords, and the reason that's not on my list is not because I don't like it. I loved it a lot, but I just wanted to one give like kind of a different kind of answer. I didn't want Mighty Morphin to be in my list just because I know it's like the go-to. Like, of course, Mighty Morphin's in the list somewhere. So I
Yeah,
wanted to think
so
outside the box, but yeah, those are all
yeah,
like my favorites from
that's
like childhood.
so I gotta ask you this as we come to the end, as we
Oh,
start to
I got some
close out.
questions too, but yeah, go ahead.
What is your favorite theme song? Not even a top five. Your favorite theme song from Power Rangers.
Oh my gosh, that's hard because I'm not like Mighty Morphin's good. It's really good,
But that's
but
not my
now
favorite either.
it's not mine either. I almost want to say either Time Force or oh no, it's a three-way. Time Force, Fee, or Space. I just love those themes like a
It would
lot. So
be
it's a three-way,
yeah,
three-way
it
tie
would be
for that.
those for me and Ninja Storm.
Ninja Storm, yeah, Ninja Storm was great. Yeah, Ninja Storm was good. I like it's so hard
If
to
I had
thing.
to choose, if I had to choose out of those, it'll probably be Galaxy.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah, it would. Because Galaxy just hits in a way that space does hit, but Galaxy guy takes it up to another like another level.
That dun, dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun. Like
Yes. Yes.
sorry, yeah,
I got a
yeah.
question for you. Since we're talking about best theme, best Dino like themed Ranger.
Like Rangers in plural, like one.
Like they're like team. So like best Dino themed Ranger like team. So like you have like Mighty Morphin, Dino Thunder, Dino
Hmm.
Charge, and then Dino Theory. So which out of all those like their suits or like their how they no
If I'm going by suits, of course I'm gonna say Mighty Morphin. But
okay.
if I'm going by as far as like power ups and fights and like strength and team and holding their own, I have to go Dino Thunder
Oh, I knew you were
because
going Dino Thunder.
even though they end up having a five ranger team, like they started with three,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a good strong three. So
Yes.
I would have to say them. I know yours, but that would be mine only because like they were much more a little stronger. Mighty Morphin was strong, but as far as to have a three team, that was like the first because they was before
No.
Ninja Storm. Or was
Yeah,
Ninja Storm
yeah,
before
they
that?
were before Ninja Storm. No, they were before
Yeah,
Ninja
so that was
Storm.
like the
Yeah.
first like three team like Power Ranger team because we were used to seeing 5, 6 Rangers, and
Yeah, we used
they
to see like
started
a
out with
full
three.
list. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would
Mm-hmm.
definitely have to put them in there. That's my favorite Dino.
If we're going based on literal like suits, it's got to be Dino Fury because I like dinosaurs and knights. So like when you combine them together, you have
Mm-hmm.
a perfect like combo for me. Plus, they had like different keys that they could like change like their like shoulder plates to be like different dinosaurs and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, if we're talking about super forms, I gotta go with Dino Charges like Red Ranger like Super Battleizer form, whatever the heck it was called. I think it was called Super Dino Mode or something like that. If I'm not mistaken. Let me see. T-Rex Supercharged. I think that's what it was called. But that thing was really cool. It had like white then, and it gave him such a different dynamic look to his suit. But other than that, I will definitely do Dino Fury. But since there is, I have two more questions, and they're in around the same realm. Best ninja suit, or best ninja suit out of all of them.
That Green Samurai, bro.
Oh, so you're doing Ninja Storm? Okay, all right. It's hard for me. Could I do the fact that Ninja still gives them because it makes them look more ninja-like?
Oh, definitely.
But the only reason I falter with that is because they're a Sixth Ranger. Like the Sixth Ranger in Ninja Steel is a cowboy, but I understand why he's a cowboy because I remember seeing this comment or whatever like that, and they were like, technically cowboys are the ninjas of the West or whatever, and I was like, maybe that's why they chose them because like maybe cowboys are seen like that to them or whatever, but it just threw me off, and I still can't get behind a Power Ranger cowboy ninja. It just does not it throws me off. So I'm gonna go Ninja Storm because that's the only part that throws me off about it. Just their Sixth Ranger is just he's I guess the ninja of the West is what we're gonna dub him.
Yeah, that's why I said that Ninja Storm Green Ranger Samurai.
Yeah, that was cold. And then lastly, best car suit. So you have two to choose from, which is
Turbo
and RPM. Because RPM is technically a car series too.
I gotta go Turbo, man.
I know you were
like I like the RPM suits, but Turbo had the lights on there, like
the reflector.
The whole, it almost looked like a race outfit, but it was like a Power Ranger, like a racing outfit. It had the lines and the like stripes and stuff. Like those were some dope suits. And then the way like they went like this, and then it like came down, and then the helmet it gotta be.
Turbo is definitely a contender, but I like RPM suits just because they had like the seat belt like buckle thing going on.
No, that was dope how it went like that.
And then they have the little tires, like the sideways tires on the ankles and stuff. And then their sequence with them like revving up, like their morphing sequence is them revving on like a track or something like that.
Yeah,
I thought that was really cool. But I do think Turbo, if anything, if there was no RPM, Turbo would for sure be it. But other than that, do you have any other questions to ask me? Because I've just been spitfiring at you.
Man, I think I've asked all the questions I had. I think we covered a lot. Yeah. This is probably like the most we've went over in a podcast on a particular subject. Like, there's so much. It's 30 years. It's 30 years, and we relate more to it because it's like a part of our lives, and it's like a more personal thing. It's like real important to us to talk about. I just want to say, with anything, shout out to all the Power Ranger fans.
Yep.
All the guys that are our age who were young black kids who saw the Black Ranger for the first time, and he looked like you. All the girls that saw that it was cool to be a badass and fight, kick butt. And you didn't need a dude to make you feel strong. Just the different representations. Even it goes so deep as like outside of the community. Like when you meet these people, and even to like the Rangers that we lost. The people that portray different Rangers, they always are like embedded as heroes in our minds. Just as the community as a whole, just shouts out to everybody because all the people who do the fan films, the fan fiction, the comic books, like
the people that have been the Rangers.
Yeah, it's like having a big family. That's why we did this podcast. While doing it, so you guys can talk about it. Of course, y'all let us know what's your favorite Ranger teams. If you agree with, any of our stuff. But I can't give you all of that until D gives you know what?
Shameless promotional.
I flipped the script tonight. Let the person who do the shameless promotional kick it off. Because y'all saw how I did that. Y'all saw how I did that, though.
Yep.
That's how I did it.
Yep, changing it up. Just extra little change. But with that being said, you can watch this video on YouTube. If you like the video, share it, like it, hit the notification bell on the side of the video so you get notified of this video and future videos. Comment down below who's your top 5 of anything that we've listed in this video. Who do you like? Who's your favorite Ranger? Who's your least favorite Ranger? What's your favorite series? Megazords, all that good stuff. Did you agree with our list or did you disagree with it? Follow us on squareroundtablepod.fanlondon.com, squareroundtablepod.fanlondon.com. And follow us on Rapner Tuesdays and Thursdays. And follow us on all our socials, our Instagram, X, Twitter, whatever it wants to call itself. And our Discord, our new Discord. Come in there and join us. We talk about all things really nerd and Power Rangers and stuff like that. So we'd love to see you down there. And if you have nothing else to say, Marcus?
Yeah, man, that's it. Like I said, shout out to y'all, and before we go out, Demetrius.
I'm your host, Dimitri.
And I'm your host, Marcus. And tonight, before we go out, we're going to hit y'all with a special
3, 2, 1.
It's Morphin Time.
It's Morphin Time.
Hey, and this is the Square Round Table.
And we are out. Peace.
Deuces.